Hello, this is Gio. Hey, we're back to my Future Spa Pinball Playfield restoration. And the last video I had completed touch-up painting of the entire playfield. And so today we're gonna start clear coating this. So there are a lot of clear coats out there. Some people like to use auto clear coat, which they spray on with a pneumatic sprayer. There are also can versions of auto clear coat. I personally like to use this Rust-Oleum 2X Ultra Cover Gloss Clear. I find that this is more controlled. It takes a little more time. I do multiple coats, but if I screw up one coat, it's more easily corrected than doing a really thick auto clear coat right at once. And if you screw something up, it's done forever. This has a little bit more, you could correct yourself if you make errors. But first I have to prep the playfield for the clear coat. I kind of have to plug up some of these holes. Again, I didn't take all the components off the bottom, and so I have to kind of protect those. And so I'm just going to wrap this up, kind of the edges in plastic, protect some of these holes, and also some of these light sockets I have to protect. So I do have to remove one last part, and it's this star insert. This basically, the ball goes over this star, and if I can push it up, you can see kind of goes up and down, and when the ball runs over that, it hits a switch, etc. But I have to get this thing out so I can clear coat over it and then reinstall the star. Okay, so this is underneath the playfield, and you can see kind of where the star goes out, and you can see it's not going to be easy to remove. It's pretty much in there permanently. Trying to remove it probably would damage the insert, and so I'm just going to actually cut this thing off and remove it that way. Now fortunately you can still get these rollover stars from at least Marco Specialty here. There's a couple of other companies that you can buy them from, and you can see it's the same shape, and I could reinsert a new one. I just discard the old one and use a new one once I clear coat everything. Okay, so we'll just clip this off. And there you go, there's the original star. It kind of popped itself out, but you can see it's the same shape as the newer ones. Kind of fit this in place there, and it will fit nicely once I want to reinstall. Okay, so I pretty much prepped the table for the clear coat, got some plastic here. I also filled in a number of these holes, or all the holes, with kind of painter's tape right here. So clear coat won't drip down to some of the wiring and electronics below. I also had a number of light sockets that I really didn't want to desolder, and so I had to figure out how to protect those from the clear coat themselves. I basically took a little socket wrench socket about the same size as these holes, and I just put some painter tape around it to kind of make a circle, so I could essentially use that to surround the sockets and then kind of fill in the sockets themselves with the painter's tape. And so those should be fairly easy to remove after I clear coat. I might have to cut a few of them out, but it shouldn't be an issue. So this little star here will pose an issue with the clear coat. The clear coat will get into these grooves and kind of fill in these grooves quite a bit. And so I'm going to have to probably use a little blade to kind of carve out these stars and reshape the star after I clear coat, since the clear coat's probably going to clog up a lot of these star features. And so this clear coat process, again, we're going to be using the Rust-Oleum 2X Gloss Clear, and I'm going to be basically building up initially. I'm probably going to be putting up to about 6 coats initially. Between each coat, I'm going to be probably using, I have a number of grit. This is wet dry sandpaper. I'm going to be sanding in wet conditions. I have a wet block here. So it's best to sand between coats with a wet sandpaper. And I have 400, 800, 15, and 2000 grit here. Mostly in between the coats, I'm going to be using just 800, just with my hand, not the block, just to kind of cut down a lot of the bubbles. And then I'm probably going to do a really quick wipe down with isopropyl alcohol. You don't want to do that too long because it will get sticky, but it does help get rid of the flaws and a lot of the bubbles themselves and all the particles you created with the sanding. And then after about 6 coats or so, I'm going to be doing a really good sanding with 400 grit and the block to try to level it out as smooth as possible. See how many holes or low areas I have that will need to go back with multiple coats. And then at the end, when I think I have everything ready, I'll just keep on sanding down from 4, 8, 15, 2000 to get it as smooth as possible. In general, I do recommend doing clear coat in a protective ventilated area, such as a garage with the door open or good ventilation, perhaps in an exterior tent. Unfortunately, I do not have access to a garage, so I will be doing this under a covered porch, which poses, there could be insects or dust, etc., that you have to watch out for. So try to go and do clear coat in the most protected area you can, but with good ventilation.
So here's what it looks like after about 2 or 3 coats. Again, I sanded in between each coat. You can see there's a lot of low spots, and this has to do with the degradation of the paint originally. But you can see all the areas that I touched up right there, and so definitely we do need more coats. And so here you see after about another 2 to 3 coats, it is improving, things are getting flatter, but there is still a lot of low areas, especially around the inserts, and this will be an ongoing struggle to get these insert areas filled up with clear coat. And so after about 6 or 7 coats, I decided to be a little more aggressive with my sanding, and so I went ahead and I'm using an electric sander to try to work down the clear coat to try to level off those low-lying insert areas. And so this is the result. And here you can really see where those low-lying areas are, especially after the aggressive sanding. Basically, those insert areas really didn't get sanded, and so they really need additional clear coat to fill them in. And in addition to clear coating and sanding the entire playfield, I also did some spot treatments for particularly deep little spots, as you can see here. I basically dripped on some clear coat, let it dry, and then when it's sanded, it generally becomes more flush. So here you see my use of isopropyl alcohol in between the sanded coats. Basically, I apply a little bit of alcohol to a cloth and I rub down an area really rapidly. You don't want to apply too much for too long because the clear coat will get sticky. You just basically want to remove a lot of the dust and a lot of the remaining bubbles that is on the surface and do it very quickly and then move to a different location. And now the surface is ready for another coat of clear coat. So after many layers of clear coating and continuous sanding with the 400 and 800 grit sandpaper, I did finally get the playfield as flat as possible, or I could probably have done a little bit better, but I think it looks good as is. Now I'll just go ahead with the finer grit of sandpaper and move to the Novus scratch removers for the final polishing. And there you go. The shine has really come out and this playfield looks great. Well, I think I'm done with this playfield restoration, and I think for the very last video I'll show a before and after video so you can kind of see what all we did and how well this playfield came out. But until next time, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please hit that like button at the bottom of the screen and even consider subscribing to my channel. I have many more videos to come. Bye-bye.